There we go. This looks nice. Stay hydrated, kids. Stay hydrated. Hey guys, Harsh here and welcome back to Technolobe. This is the Poco X2.
Say it out loud, spill the truth. Tell me how I'm gonna get close to you. Yeah. High and low, in between, acting out, make a scene. Working on our body language, working on our body language. Baby, now tell me exactly how you feel. I'm just trying to keep it real. Let me love you on the inside.
So after a long wait of more than 1.5 years, Poco finally launched a new phone. Now you would expect Poco to launch a successor to the legendary Poco F1, right? But nope, that clearly did not happen. Poco re-entered the market by launching a new series of smartphone in the mid-range segment. So it is pretty clear that Poco is not only going to launch flagship killers like the Poco F1, but they might launch multiple smartphones across multiple segments this year, which honestly is a good thing. But anyway, the first smartphone by Poco for this year is here, and it is the Poco X2. This phone offers some really good features for the starting point of Rs 16,000. Let's start with the design and build quality. So design of Poco X2 is different from the other smartphones in the similar price segment, especially the camera module. I really like this circular, old school coin machine type looking design of the camera module. It makes it look pretty unique. It houses a power button on the right side which doubles as a physical fingerprint sensor. Now this fingerprint sensor is fast and accurate as you would expect a physical fingerprint sensor to perform. So no complaints over there. Now I really wish there were some better color options for this phone. So this phone comes in 3 color options: purple, red and blue. None of these colors are classy, like these colors are all flashy, and I really wish that they would have launched black or white because that would have been awesome. Not everyone lives a colorful life, some people live a minimalistic life, and for those people a black or white option would be perfect. Maybe in the coming future they will launch a new color. I really hope that they do. Now Poco X2 is a very big phone. It is not a small phone. It's almost as big as the OnePlus 7 Pro. So if you like small phones, then this is not for you. It has a massive 6.67-inch display up front with a resolution of Full HD+. Now this display has a refresh rate of 120Hz and it is IPS LCD. So there's been some debate about 120Hz LCD versus 60Hz AMOLED, and it's a split vote. 50% people love the 120Hz LCD display and 50% people think that they should have gone with a 60Hz AMOLED display because that would have been better. Now if you ask me, I would any day pick the 120Hz IPS LCD over 60Hz AMOLED because that 120Hz refresh rate does matter a lot. It makes your phone really smooth and fun to use, and you have to experience it in person to know what I'm talking about. So if you've ever used a higher refresh rate display, you will relate to me, and even you will choose the 120Hz refresh rate IPS LCD over the 60Hz AMOLED. Besides, the LCD panel on the Poco X2 is actually pretty good. Excellent viewing angles, the colors are on point, and even the brightness level is good enough to use outdoors in sunny conditions. So things like watching movies, YouTube, Netflix, Hotstar, or playing your favorite games, or just browsing through Instagram and Twitter are really good, and the display does not feel cheap at all. It is a very good display for the price of Rs 16,000. Now the display is a hole punch display. That means it has a cutout for the camera module, and this time it's a dual camera setup on the front side. Now please make a note that there is some screen bleeding around the camera. Now I am not annoyed by it at all, but if you're a person who gets annoyed by screen bleeding, then yeah, please make a note of that. Okay, now let's talk about what lies under the hood. Snapdragon 730G, 6 or 8GB of LPDDR4X RAM, 64, 128 or 256GB of UFS 2.1 storage, a 4500 mAh battery and 27 watt fast charging, and yes, the charger is included in the box. Now how do these numbers translate into real life performance? Well, the Snapdragon 730G is a very capable processor and performance on Poco X2 is excellent. You can throw whatever you want at it and it does not drop a sweat, and it feels very smooth. The overall experience is very smooth and it does not lag at all. Especially normal tasks like checking email, replying to WhatsApp messages, browsing through YouTube, or some photo editing in Snapseed and Lightroom. Everything is very smooth and I really like the performance on this phone. Even the gaming performance is excellent. Now, before someone out there shouts at me saying that PUBG does not work at 60 FPS, I know it does not work at 60 FPS. That is a limitation of the processor, that is Snapdragon 730G. But there is a workaround, and you should definitely follow Dhananjay Bhosle for that. So Dhananjay Bhosle has made an entire video about PUBG on Poco X2, and he's done one hell of a job. So I'll make sure to drop a link to that video in the description box below. So if you are a hardcore PUBG player, you should definitely watch that video. A big part of the performance is also software. Now this phone, that is the Poco X2, comes with MIUI 11 for Poco based on Android 10. Now this MIUI 11 for Poco comes with the Poco Launcher pre-installed, and I love Poco Launcher. It is very good. In fact, I use Poco Launcher on all the Android phones. Like if I buy a Samsung phone or a Realme phone, the first thing I'll do is install Poco Launcher. And in Poco Launcher, you can also change the icon pack. I go with the Pixel icon pack, and then the phone looks like stock Android, and then I throw in a good wallpaper from backdrops and call it a day. So yeah, that's my setup, and that's why it looks so clean. Now when it comes to the actual software optimization, MIUI 11 for Poco is not perfect by any means. There are still tons and tons of optimizations that need to be done, and I hope that Poco pushes out regular updates for this phone and make the software experience even better. So as and when updates will come along, this phone will get better and the performance will get better with it. Now one prime example where software optimization lacks is in terms of battery life. So the Poco X2 has a 4500 mAh battery, and it does not last as long as you would expect it to. Now obviously there's a 120Hz refresh rate display, and that's draining a lot of battery, but if the software optimization is on point, then you can get more battery life. Typically I am getting somewhere around 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time, and if it goes above 6 hours, then that would be perfect. So maybe in the future software updates they can make the battery optimization better so that we can get better battery life. Now as I mentioned, this phone does come with a fast charger inside the box. That is a 27 watt fast charger, and it works excellent. It will charge your phone up to 100% under 1 hour, and that is a very underrated feature nowadays. Like every smartphone is coming with a fast charger, and fast charging technology has come to a whole new level, and that is excellent. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the main thing with Poco X2, and that is them cameras. On the rear side, you get a quad camera setup. A 64 megapixel primary sensor, that is the Sony IMX686, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensor, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. It is a very good quad camera setup, and especially the primary camera is very good. So clicking photos is an excellent experience with the Poco X2. May it be day lighting conditions, low lighting conditions, artificial lighting conditions, the Poco X2 clicks some of the best images in its price segment. In fact, this time Poco has done a very good job in terms of optimizing the software for the camera. The colors are good, the dynamic range is excellent, there is a lot of detail in the photos, and they look very natural and not oversaturated. So earlier there was a problem with Xiaomi phones where they used to oversaturate the images, but that problem does not exist in Poco X2. Now I've made a dedicated camera review for the Poco X2, and it has a lot more camera samples. And in case you missed that video, don't worry, I'll drop a link to it in the I button over here and also in the description box below. Go ahead and watch that video, and then you'll understand more about the cameras on Poco X2. Now when it comes to the front camera, you get a dual camera setup, a 20 megapixel primary camera and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The front camera on the Poco X2 is very good. Again, the software optimization is excellent for the front camera as well. Now moving on, let's talk about the little things like the headphone jack. So I really like the fact that Poco retained the headphone jack, because at this price point the headphone jack is very important and wired audio is still very good. The prime example of that is the Mi dual driver earphones. It's like a dream combination. The Mi dual driver earphones and Poco X2, you get a really good experience while listening to music or watching movies. So if you buy the Poco X2, I would highly recommend you to buy the Mi dual driver earphones as well, and you will have a very good experience. Now what about the speakers? The speakers on the Poco X2 are okayish. It's not something out of the world. It's a normal speaker and it won't surprise you in any way. The Poco X2 comes with a hybrid SIM card slot solution. That means you can use one SIM card, one micro SD card, or two SIM cards, and I think that is okay. If you want to use a micro SD card, there is an option available, and that is okay. Obviously, it would have been better if they had offered a dedicated micro SD card slot, and that would have been just perfect. Now overall, to sum it up, I would say the Poco X2 is a step in the right direction. It is not perfect by any means, But the fact that Poco launched a mid-range phone and the fact that the price is so perfect makes me really excited for future iterations of this product. It's a good start by Poco in this segment and a huge thumbs up to the team for bringing this phone to India and at such a great price. If you ask me, Poco X2 is probably one of the best phones right now in India under 20,000 rupees, and if you want to buy it, I'll make sure to drop a link to it in the description box below. So anyway, this was my full review of the Poco X2. If you liked it, then don't forget to hit that like button, and also if you haven't yet, please subscribe below. My name is Harsh Punjabi and I'll see you guys in the next one.